Hello, Skates.
Hello, Kristen.
Hello, Max.
We are back for a pretty big topic today, nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
First, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in regards to nutrition lately.
I myself just finished a precision nutrition certification course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That?
Yes, that thing. It took me a year to go through all this stuff, and that was just because I'm not good at school. I took a little bit longer, but it should be they say like 6 months to a year usually to finish the program, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
It's all about macros and nutrition programming and coaching for people that want that. So it was super eye-opening.
Awesome. And I think we're working on implementing that for the gym, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Stay tuned. But for now, we want to talk a little bit about our nutrition principles, so pretty high level.
Yes.
Yeah? And then I think we have a couple of questions that are probably a little more in depth, but that the community has asked, and obviously we want to get to and answer them.
We'll try to keep it between in-depth enough to answer questions, but also broad enough to apply to everyone.
Yeah. We'll try.
Yeah.
Because this is it's a hot topic.
There's a lot. We could do like 1,000 episodes on different parts of nutrition. So
they would probably apply to one person only at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about the principles of nutrition. And by the way, we've just done an Instagram series on it. Mm-hmm. Very, very high level. Yeah. So let's just recap what that looks like.
Really simplified would be eating real foods, not too much, and mostly plants, right? So avoiding things like, and these are all on our Instagram, Facebook posts, avoiding added sugars, not real sugars. We're not talking about fruit. Fruit is good for you, but added sugars and alcohol, avoiding processed foods, and then eating only when you're hungry.
No snacks.
Yeah, no snacking in between meals, no going back for seconds, no desserts, not eating when you're bored. Which sometimes it's hard to tell, am I hungry or am I just bored? But then that's kind of going into that mindful eating, like paying attention to why you want to eat.
Yeah.
And then eating veggies with every meal.
Yeah. Why eating veggies with every meal? What do veggies give me?
They give you all the nutrients you need. So you have your macros and your micros, and the veggies are the micros, but also they help your digestive system. The leafy greens help move things the way they should be moving.
Okay, and what does taking care of my nutrition actually do for me? Like, why should I be doing this? Why doesn't 21-59 thrusters and pull-ups do the trick?
Yeah, there's that saying that you can't outwork a bad diet, and that's absolutely true. All of those processed foods and added sugars that we want to avoid, they actually do damage to your body and your insides. They make you tired, they make you slow, they don't give you the good energy you need to get through those workouts.
Or the day,
yeah.
Work, life.
Jinx. So eating those healthier foods will help you feel more energized. It helps your skin, it helps your hair growth, it helps your body grow if you're a teen, and still growing. Yeah. We shouldn't still be growing. Maybe this way, but not this way.
For those of you who can't see this, she's referring to
wideness, not tallness.
Thank you.
Unless muscles are growing, and that's a good kind, if that's what you want. So the healthy foods give us all of the good nutrients. They help our body functions. They help us repair broken bones. We talked a little bit about this, I think, in one of them. Anyway, we've touched on so many things now. Oh, just kidding. That was actually a nutrition briefing I gave to a Girl Scout troop the other day.
There you go.
The broken bones. So they help you repair your broken bones. They give you energy. They make you grow. They help you think and concentrate. All good nutrition helps us with everything we do.
Yeah. Maybe a little metaphor. When you're building a house, you don't want crappy material to build your house with. So
right, we wouldn't build it out of cardboard boxes and expect it to last very long.
Yeah, maybe a little one that's it stuck with me. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Let's touch on a couple of questions. Yeah, okay. There are a couple of one-offs. How does alcohol play?
Oh, jeez.
Where does alcohol come into play here? Is it good for my training? Why is it bad for my training, if at all?
So, alcohol is technically its own macro. I don't know if you knew that, but it is technically its own macro. But your body digests it the same way. Sugar, it's the same thing with bread and like all this, although not all bread has sugar in it. Your body responds to it the same way with insulin. And having those high insulin spikes is what pushes us towards chronic diseases. But alcohol does so many things. It overworks your liver. It disrupts your REM sleep and your deep sleep, so you're not recovering while you're sleeping, which is bad for our training and everyday life. And also, if you're drinking the sugary alcoholic drinks, it gives you the really bad hangovers, which again is not good for training, trust me. We've all been there. But I wouldn't say, like, it's easy to say cut alcohol out. I would probably tell people to minimize it.
Yeah.
It's a social thing, and it has its place, right? But it's in excess is not a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. You talk a lot about macros. Let's touch on what macros actually are and what kind of macros I should be focusing on, or how many for certain, for example, for maintenance, in everyday life, for weight loss, and for muscle building. This
is one of those things that we could spend a whole lot of time on, so I'm going to try to make it simplified. Basically, your macronutrients, there's 3, are your carbohydrates, your fats, and your protein. Those are your macronutrients. They do the most for our bodies. And then the micronutrients are like our veggies and, vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin B.
Not veggies, but vitamins, minerals.
Yes, they're in the veggies and fruits. So your macros, protein, fats, and carbs.
And just to reiterate, we're always talking about real foods.
Yes.
Because you can get macros from eating donuts.
That's true. Everything contains carbs, fats, and one or more of them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're the good kind. Yes. So, yes, keeping in mind that we want to get these from real foods, not processed, things with an expiration date on them, you know, not the aisles of the store, but the
outside,
usually the outside fresh stuff.
Yeah.
Things that grow naturally that way. So we have our 3 macros. I'm trying to think of a not complicated way to explain it. So basically your macros make up your calories in a day that you're eating. And I know a lot of people ask about, well, how do I know my calories that I'm supposed to eat? And there's 2 that I personally would highly recommend, and a lot of other prominent like CrossFit people and nutrition people suggest these 2. The first one is the Precision Nutrition Calculator. They have one online that you can use, or you can ask me and I'll calculate it for you. Yep. That's pretty easy. And then there's an online TDEE calculators those ones you have to know what your body fat percentage is for it to be accurate. And then the Precision Nutrition has a bunch of questions they ask you. So it's dependent. But once you have that calorie number for what you're supposed to be eating in a day, then you can look at your macros and see how to break it down from there. Because everybody's different. It's going to be different for each individual person.
Yeah, and then it also comes down to what you're after. you're after building muscle mass,
Yes.
after maintaining.
So maintenance calories would be what you need to just live your daily life. The amount of calories you need to get by in a day.
Yeah.
Just normal everyday life. And that includes if you're working out or whatever your lifestyle is. It's that amount of calories to sustain your personal, individual snowflake of a person life. And I say snowflake because they're all different, just like people. We're all unique. The weight loss calories would be, or cut, would be a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
So you have to be eating less calories than you burn in a day to be able to lose weight. Mm-hmm. That's a cut. And you really shouldn't do that more than twice a year, and it shouldn't last more than like 12 to 16 weeks at most. Otherwise you can start doing damage to like muscle and other things.
And you shouldn't do it in a drastically.
Yes. If you're losing like 20 pounds in a week, then you should probably stop. It's way too fast. Yeah. And then weight gain or muscle building, bulking, is eating more calories than you burn to sustain muscle growth, which is a really high number of calories. Yeah. And again, clean calories.
Yes.
Because you can get a high number of calories eating like pizza and donuts and bagels, but you might be a bit fluffier than muscular in that case.
Cool. How do the different diet systems come into play here? We've been asked about keto, what about intermittent fasting, those type of things. So
here's the thing. Any and every diet will work if it's something you can sustain and stick with. Yes. It's about consistency, right? Yeah. So the best diet for you is one that you can be happy sustaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be miserable doing it, because then what's really the point? It's not worth it. I personally, and when people say the word diet, they think like, oh, I have to like restrict and cut out and do all this, and that's not the truth always. Some diets are that way, but not all of them. I like personally the non-restrictive diets. I don't think you should be telling yourself you absolutely cannot eat something, because then it makes us want it more.
Yeah.
And then we end up using like the fake version of something that doesn't really curb the craving that we had in the first place, and then we end up eating the bad thing anyway, plus the fake version of it, and then it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah.
So there isn't really, I wouldn't say there's a best diet. It's best for you, and it's the one that you can happily stick to and sustain over a long term.
Yeah. And maybe to bring it into context, keto is just the high level. Keto is
high fat, low carb.
High fat, low carb. So you're basically training your body to run off of fat instead of carbohydrates.
For energy.
For its energy source. For our sport, not necessarily the best and most sustainable diet. It's more for ultra endurance, those type of guys.
Yes. I shouldn't say the problem. My problem with keto is it's very restrictive. You cannot eat carbs. Once you have a certain amount of carbs, you're out of ketosis and you start all over again. Yeah. It defeats the purpose. And that includes like alcohol, sugar, every kind of carb. You can't have any of it if you want to do keto the right way. Yeah. People don't do it the right way. They want to eat all of the cheese, all of the like processed meats, the meats that have all the sodium in it, dried meats to get their protein in, and then that kind of stuff is stuff we should be avoiding, right? Those processed sugar foods. If you did keto super clean and ate all vegetables for your carbs and like really, really lean protein, maybe. But it's so restrictive that most people don't stick with it long term. And the best uses I've seen come out of it are from doctors who need like people to have dramatic weight loss to have surgery or something, and that goes with that. But it's not sustainable long term most of the time.
Cool. Intermittent fasting. That's basically just telling yourself when you're eating and when not. So you're probably eating less meals in a day.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be less food or less calories.
Yes.
But it's mostly a lifestyle decision, I would say. I'm on intermittent fasting, and it just helps my lifestyle. It helps me in the morning, not having to worry about breakfast.
Yeah.
And just
I did intermittent fasting as well for a while, and I liked it. My issue was, and I think this is most people's problems, is they end up losing weight doing intermittent fasting because they're not eating the same amount of calories, because they can't seem to fit it in a short amount of time. If you're doing intermittent fasting, like in random numbers, say your maintenance calories are 2,000 a day. You still need to eat those 2,000 in your 8-hour window or 6-hour window or whatever, 4-hour, whatever it is that your eating window is. You still need those same amount of calories per day. It's just in a smaller window that you're getting them in. And that was my issue. My eating window was in my busiest time of day, so I was under eating, and I ended up losing weight, which was not my intent of it. So I started eating regularly again.
What's the proposed benefit of the intermittent fasting, the not eating time? Because it's you're not eating for a longer time, for way longer time than you're eating.
So it kind of resets your digestive system. It brings those insulin levels down. I think it came from, and correct me if I'm wrong, I did a lot of research on this in the beginning, but it's been a while. It comes from the idea of like when we were cavemen and food wasn't always readily available, and our bodies adjusted to not having food for 18 hours or 16 or 18 hours.
Our bodies are used to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were.
They're still.
Biologically.
Yes. Not that long ago for evolution.
Yeah. And I think it resets your system and allows it to do other things, like your body to do other things internally when it's not worried about digesting food all day long. I think the biggest one is the insulin break. Yeah. And then I don't know if you want to add on that.
No, I think that's...
Yeah. I know people that, like, some famous CrossFitters have done or do intermittent fasting. They talk about, like, clarity in their mind and all this other stuff. I never personally experienced or never noticed the difference, but I would assume a lot of people have talked about that's another added benefit to it. But I agree with you on it's more of a lifestyle thing where it suits you to not have to worry about a meal at a certain day, as long as you're still getting your needed necessary calories in.
Which brings clarity, because you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat if you have eaten in whatever. Yeah.
You can focus on.
Yeah, you can focus on the workout in the morning instead of, did I eat too much? Do I have to, does that affect my workout? That type of stuff.
Yes.
Cool. There's one more thing I want to touch on, which is supplements. But we actually only need to touch on them because if you do eat real food, mostly plants,
you don't need supplements.
You don't need supplements. Oh my God.
It's a touchy subject because people really like their supplements. When they're taking them, they swear by them. There's a couple. And again, if you have deficiencies and you've like had the blood work and your doctor told you need those supplements, that's different. But if you don't have any deficiencies, you didn't see your doctor, you didn't get any blood work, you just heard Matt Fraser talking about how CBD oil really works for his recovery. We're not training at the level Matt Fraser's training, first of all, but also if you're eating properly and enough and clean, healthy, real foods, you don't need those supplements. You'll get that stuff naturally, which you should strive to do instead of taking the shortcut and getting the fake stuff.
Yeah, because I want to say almost, but almost every supplement is a processed food.
Yeah.
You don't know what's actually in there. You don't know what happened in the process of making it.
Or even the capsule that it's in can be like sugar, glucose, all kinds of stuff in there. Yeah. It just goes into eating the real foods.
Yeah.
And if you're eating your veggies and your lean proteins and your healthy carbs, healthy fats, you're getting what you need. You don't need those supplements.
Cool. Let's wrap it up here. Let us know if you have any unanswered questions, follow-up questions. We know it's a big topic, and I think we're already going for a long time. But yeah, we hope we could give a pretty good overview.
Yes. I think we'll also have episodes later on in the future on more specific points of nutrition that we'll go more in depth on. But we're always happy to answer any questions, especially about if you're interested in macros or you want help figuring out your calories that you should be eating in a day. We're really happy to help with that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. You can leave questions in the comments or send them to us via email. And we would always appreciate a like.
And a follow.
Or a follow and a subscription to the channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.